One of the central lessons of Buddhism is to accept that suffering and pain are inevitable parts of life, and to recognize that suffering and pain are what they are. However, this is easier said than done. So let's talk about how the Buddha offers us a different perspective on how to view suffering and how to use that experience to add more meaning to our lives. The Buddha uses a wonderful simile to illustrate this point. Imagine that if someone were to strike a man with a dot and then strike him immediately afterwards with a second dot, physical and mental sensations in the body, or physical and mental suffering, the reason why we worry in the face of this unavoidable suffering in our life is we expect a life without suffering. But life itself has the intrinsic nature and inherent nature of suffering and pain and unsatisfied nature. So what Buddha teaches us is to see it as a part of life, to not try to forget it. Do not try to run away from it. See it as a part of your life that always persists throughout your life. And the Buddha says that when an ordinary person goes through these feelings to escape from this pain, what he does is he seeks delight in sensual pleasures. He chases behind sensual pleasures to distract himself. So that is the normal reaction, isn't it? Normally, when someone goes through a painful feeling, when someone goes through a difficult time in his life, they chase behind sensual pleasure to distract their brains. This distract their mind from that pain. For an example, when someone is struggling in their life, if someone has pain in his mind, sometimes some people use alcohol. Some people distract them with alcohol. Some people distract them with sexual misconduct. Some people distracts with consuming more and more social media these days. It is happening more and more. Okay, for an example, if you feel any pain in your life, just check your behavior. People use more and more social media. Why? To distract themselves with that pain from that pain. But Buddha does not say that chasing behind the sensual pleasure is completely wrong. But the say is that chasing behind sensual pleasure does not solve your problem completely. Why is that so? The more we chase behind sensual pleasure, the more we suffer because of the unsatisfied nature. So that is why the Buddha said chasing behind sensual pleasure does not solve your problem completely. Why it does not solve the problem completely? Because whenever we are been struck by a miserable feeling or a painful feeling in life, now we need something material and external source to distract ourselves all the time. Now this does not help us to focus on ourselves and find the true nature of this problem and solve it once and forever. Okay, so that is why the Buddha said chasing behind sensual pleasure will not completely solve your problem instead of chasing behind the sensual pleasure to distract ourselves. The Buddha says that look at the pain as a part of life that is unavoidable, and the Buddha says that pain is an inevitable condition in life, but worrying is an option that we choose. Worrying is always optional. So the Buddha used a special term to these ups and downs in life. He called it 8 world conditions. The Buddha stated that these 8 worldly conditions are present in this world at all times. He mentioned gain and loss, dispute, fame, blame, praise, pleasure, and pain. These 8 worldly conditions are like the 2 sides of a single coin. We cannot separate them. Therefore, the Buddha advises us not to worry about these painful situations in life any more than is necessary, because we always have the option to avoid worrying, because although pain is an inevitable condition, worrying is something we choose to do in life. Remember this amazing statement: pain is inevitable, worrying is optional.